Casey.
Juliette.
In the opening scene, Casey is being chased down a freeway and crashes. The camera pans to his wrecked car, where he narrates, saying that people do all sorts of crazy things, but if they're doing it for love, maybe it's not so crazy after all. A few days earlier, Casey meets Juliette, and they fall in love. They bond when they dare each other to see who can lie in the snow in their undergarments the longest. During this, Casey finds out that Juliette is sick and needs emergency surgery. Not wanting her to pay for the surgery, Casey agrees to help his old boss, Geran, a mid-level wannabe gangster, rob an 18-wheeler that belongs to Hagen Kahl, a respectable businessman who is secretly a drug lord. In the past, Geran helped Kahl become powerful, but after Geran wanted to be equal partners and was turned down, he decided to rob him. Casey and his friend Moss plan a fake car accident involving a motorcycle and a car. The driver of the 18-wheeler pulls over and looks at Moss, who is pretending to be injured and unconscious, while Casey hides in the bushes. The driver heads back to the truck, grabs a first aid kit, and walks halfway to Moss. He stops, places the kit on the ground, opens it, and pulls out a hidden machine gun, beginning to shoot at Moss. Moss dodges the bullets from inside the car, giving Casey time to sneak up on the driver and knock him out. Knowing there's a camera in the truck, Casey takes the driver's hat to mask his face and drives off, with Moss following in another vehicle. They split off in separate directions. The men watching Kahl's cameras notice Casey isn't looking at the camera and deduce the truck has been hijacked. Shortly after, Casey's truck is broadsided by another large truck and flips onto its side. Casey passes out and wakes up in a large warehouse, where Kahl questions him about who hired him. Casey doesn't give in, so Kahl threatens to hurt Juliette, revealing he knows about their relationship. As Kahl leaves, Casey is about to be tortured but manages to break out, hop into an empty car, and escape the warehouse. Casey tries to call Juliette to warn her but gets interrupted and ends up in a prolonged car chase with one of Kahl's men. Casey crashes into a car, and Kahl's man gets out with a machine gun, shooting at Casey. Suddenly, a speeding police car smashes into the henchman's car, launching it dramatically into the air, where it also crashes into Casey's car. Casey notices some money sticking out of one of the back passenger doors. He looks into the door and notices blocks of money hidden inside, which also explains another reason why Kahl and his men are after him. Casey puts a good amount of the money in a sack and takes off just as Kahl's main henchman shows up. An extended foot chase erupts through a bar, a building, a house, and across a rooftop. Casey gets cornered in the house and has a brief fight with the henchman, eventually knocking him out for a few moments, which gives Casey a chance to escape. He makes it to the street, where he encounters a police car heading his way. To avoid being detected, Casey poses as a homeless man sitting on the street. Once the police car is passed, Casey takes off in the opposite direction. However, Kahl's henchman spots him again, leading to another foot chase. This time, Casey reaches another car, steals it, and takes off, leaving the henchman behind. Casey calls Moss and asks him to get Juliette out of the hospital by taking her out for coffee or a movie, anything to keep her away from Kahl's clutches. At the hospital, Juliette passes by two of Kahl's men, who then turn around and start following her. Meanwhile, back where Casey stole his latest car, the car's driver starts shouting at the police, saying his car has been stolen, which attracts the attention of Kahl's henchmen. The henchmen question the driver about the stolen car. Casey gets a call from Kahl, who subtly hints that he knows Juliette's address. This urges Casey even more to reach her before Kahl does. Casey calls Geran and tells him everything has gone terribly wrong. Geran accuses Casey of selling him out, but Casey denies it. Casey offers Geran the money he took from Kahl's car, an estimated $5 million, but asks to keep $200,000 and for Geran to protect Juliette. Geran agrees to the deal. Casey is then chased by more of Kahl's men on the freeway, leading to another prolonged car chase. Although Casey eludes them, he ends up wrecking his car and imagines Juliette in the car with him as it flips over multiple times. This is revealed to be the scene from the beginning of the film. Casey wakes up and notices a small suitcase inside the car. He empties it and places the money inside. Stealing another car, he drives off and calls Moss, asking if he's with Juliette. Moss says no and reveals that someone must have gotten to her first, as he went to her place and found no one there. Casey notices that the car he stole is running out of gas, so he stops at a station and realizes it only takes cards, not cash. Casey goes inside and tries to pay with a large bill, but due to security reasons, they won't accept it. Casey pleads with the owner, who eventually relents and lets him pay. As Casey notices Kahl and his men pulling up to the station, he hides the case under a shelf of chips. However, one of Kahl's men finds it. A friend of the gas station owner sees Kahl's men with guns and grabs his shotgun. He enters the gas station and points the gun at Kahl's men. Kahl himself comes into the store, asks the man for his name, and the man replies, Wolfgang. Kahl jokes about the name being like Mozart's and ominously says Wolfgang will be seeing Mozart soon before pulling out his gun and shooting him. Casey begins quietly laughing at Kahl. Kahl remarks that most men cry or pray before they die, but laughing is original. Casey then tells Kahl he is still in control because he still has Kahl's truck. It is revealed that Casey switched trucks earlier, and the one that crashed was a decoy. Wolfgang regains consciousness, shoots one of Kahl's men, and takes cover behind a counter, giving Casey enough time to steal Kahl's car and escape. Casey calls Geran and asks about Juliette. Geran falsely claims that someone got to Juliette's place before they did and that she's dead, trying to provoke Casey. Geran then reveals that his men have Juliette and are on their way back. Casey drives to Geran's horse track and goes with him to a barn to see Juliette. However, inside the barn, Geran brings out a woman, revealing it to be someone else. He had mixed up the apartment number. Casey threatens Geran, but Geran rebukes him with a gun. Meanwhile, a man at the track texts Kahl. This same man enters the barn, shoots Geran, and knocks out Casey. He ties up Casey, but Casey escapes and kills the man using a large hook. Casey takes the money, gets into Geran's car, and dozes off for a few minutes, dreaming of Juliette being with him in the car. He wakes up when his phone rings. It's Kahl, who tells Casey he has something he wants. Casey arranges a trade-off, Juliette for the money. Back in the barn, Geran regains consciousness. Casey makes it to the trade-off location, a local bar, and reunites with Juliette. Casey shows Kahl the money, and after seeing it, Kahl tells Juliette she can leave but insists Casey stays to settle some matters. Geran bursts into the bar, holding a gun to Kahl. He reveals that he tracked the car via GPS to find the trade-off location. Geran sits at a table across from Kahl and orders Casey to get him a drink. The police arrive outside, and Casey admits he called them. The police launch a smoke grenade into the bar, leading to a gunfight between Geran and the officers. Casey and Juliette escape out the back with the money, while Kahl flees in a waiting car. Geran stays behind, exchanging fire with the police, and is ultimately killed. Casey and Juliette, pursued by Kahl's main henchmen, make their way to a train station. Casey tells Juliette to board a train with the money while he gives himself up to the police. Kahl's henchman is gunned down by the authorities. During his interrogation, Casey provides the location of Kahl's truck to the police, leading to Kahl's exposure as a drug lord and subsequent arrest. Later, Casey watches as Juliette goes in for her surgery at the hospital. Thank you for following along. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe for more recaps. Until next time, have a great day.